continuing the quest to find the perfect bike packing shoe, something that works well while hiking with your bike, works well at camp, and then obviously performs well on the bike while pedaling. Today, I am going to talk about the Izumi X-Alp Launch SPD and if it fits that bill or not. I've been testing these shoes out for the past 7 months, over 2,000 miles of use, everything from simple fall day rides to sloppy week-long spring bike packing trips and everything in between. So a few years back, I ended up using the X-Alp Launch 2 for the Colorado and Arizona trails, and those shoes were great. But the new X-Alp Launch SPD, as you see here, is definitely a little different. It's more similar to the previous generation, which was a lace-up shoe. So the older X-Alp Launch 2 is definitely more reminiscent of the X-Alp Elevate or Summit, which is in Izumi's lineup currently. And we recently did a clipless shoe rundown where the Elevate was highlighted, so I'll link that below so that you can check that out. So does this mean that the X-Alp Launch SPD is not suited for bike packing? No, but there are definitely some strengths and weaknesses with this shoe. As far as fit is concerned, I went with a 46.5 or an 11.5, which is true to my foot size. They do run slightly large, I would say, and that's a good thing. You know, if you're looking for a shoe that is good for bike packing, you want a little bit of space for swelling and potentially a little bit more space just to be comfortable over those long days. And that's typically what I will go with. I'll maybe size up a half size or even a full size depending on the trip and the suffer factor. Another fit note here is I actually removed the stock insoles for some custom insoles. Just a disclaimer here, I've had some feet issues in the past. I've had foot surgery on my arches. I've removed an extra bone in both of my feet. In general though, my feet are rather narrow, and so that's something to think about in this review. So at first glance, this does not look like your traditional mountain bike shoe, but rather just a pretty cool looking sneaker. The shoe itself is actually pretty lightweight compared to some other shoes that I've used in the past. The upper part of the shoe is made out of a recycled Cordura, and the shank is made out of a 3/4 length composite, which basically kind of ends at the toe, which gives the shoe a really nice walkability to it. The outsole of the shoe is made out of Vibrum's EcoStep rubber, which is at least 30% recycled material or recycled Vibram rubber, which is great. And then updated from the past lace-up generation, the new X-Alp Launch comes with the BOA closure system, which is extremely easy to adjust on the go. So this specific BOA system is the new L6 series. So it's got a really nice kind of large knob. To release the whole lace system, all you have to do is pull the knob up. I did notice that the laces do take some time to settle in, so after a few pedal strokes, I would turn the knob just to tighten down the shoe a little bit more. As far as the BOA versus, say, a lace-up or a Velcro option, this worked really well, and it's just a no-fuss system. All you have to do is deal with the BOA. You don't have to deal with any Velcro, and it's much, much better than a lace-up system in my opinion. So talking about on-the-bike performance, or in this case, just putting the shoe on my foot, the heel pull is not that great. It's not in a great location. You can't really stick your finger in it. So it is a little bit more of a challenge to put the shoe on. But once I did, and once I clipped into my pedals and started pedaling my bike, my initial thought with these shoes are they are super soft and super flexible. While they do have that shank in there, which does stiffen things up a little bit, compared to some other shoes that I've used in the past, this is definitely on the softer side. So the other very noticeable feature of this shoe was the roomy toe box. It allowed a lot of side-to-side movement, room for swelling, and generally speaking, I really enjoyed just the space that I had down there. So another thing that I noticed, which was kind of odd, was the tongue of the shoe. On the right shoe, it would shift all the way to the right. On the left shoe, it would shift all the way to the left. This didn't compromise the way the shoe rode or the comfort of the shoe, but it just happened, which was weird. And I've had that happen with other shoes before. It could be my foot shape, but I just always think it's weird. Overall, this shoe is definitely more of a comfort-based shoe, I would say, than a performance-based shoe, but it does come with that shank, and it does transfer power better than, say, a shoe without something like that. So it's a mountain bike shoe, and it works really well, and it's comfortable. So talking about off the bike performance now, because of the flex and the soft nature of this shoe, it walks extremely well. However, the outsole of this shoe was not designed for steep trail hike-a-bikes or really anything that's slick. So what I would need to do is rely on the tread on the upper part of the shoe, which is exactly where it flexes. So that's good. Like, I have the ability to dig this part of the shoe into the trail. But the problem here is that's the only part of the shoe that actually grips. Underneath the cleat here doesn't really grip that well, so I'd put a lot of stress on my Achilles. So the upside to this really solid rubber section underneath the cleat is it prevents any cleat clanking. So the cleat doesn't really hit anything because it's completely protected by this solid rubber piece. Even when my cleat is positioned all the way in the back position, which I like because it reduces any Achilles irritation. And then the heel of the shoe comes with actually a pretty robust piece of padding here. So that not only helps with comfort, but also to help keep that heel in place. Talking about durability a little bit now, the number one concern I had was these lace guides on the shoe, because I've had lace guides from BOA shoes actually fail me. But taking a deep look at these guides, there's no sign of wear and tear. I did go through a lot of grit and grime, and I did get some of that in the BOA system. From time to time, when I wanted to take the shoe off, I would have to pluck at the laces instead of just being able to lift up on the tongue. So this shoe does a really good job of keeping water out. Up on the toe here, it's seamless, so water can't really penetrate all that easy. But because of that, it kind of stores water when you do dunk the shoe entirely into a creek or a river. So from time to time, I would find myself stopping on the side of the trail, tipping the shoe over just to get water out. The shoe itself, though, doesn't really have a ton of places for water to absorb, so it does actually do a really good job of drying up. So overall, the shoe is actually in pretty good shape. The stitching is in good shape, the guides are in good shape, the laces are in good shape. I would say the tread is probably the one thing that has seen the most abuse just due to all of the miles of hike-a-bike. But in general, it's in good shape and it's got plenty of miles left. The Alp X Launch SPD is a stylish, well-fitting, comfortable, easy to adjust shoe for folks looking for a shoe that walks just as well as it pedals. And while I would love to see some more tread underneath the cleat and maybe even a stiffer shank, in general, this shoe has been a pleasure to pedal over the last 2,000 miles. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns about the Pearl Izumi X-Alp Launch SPD, or if you have any suggestions on shoes that work well for bike packing, leave it in the comment section below. So if you like what you saw in this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And if you want to help support us a little bit more, consider joining the Bikepacking Collective, which is BIKEPACKING.com's annual membership. And there's more information in the link below so that you can check that out. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in, and until next time, pedal further.